Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to Live from NCCE this beautiful March day. Well, it's beautiful in California. My friend Mike is in Montana, and apparently there's a big storm coming. Where are you at, Jennifer?
I'm at Tallahassee, Florida, and it's gorgeous and sunny here too.
There you go. So on the coast, it's gorgeous. Sorry, Mike, for the snow in Montana. But we're thrilled to have Jennifer Womble with us today. She is the conference chair of the Future of Education Technology Conference. As everyone knows, FETC is known for enhancing professional development in a tech education knowledge landscape while fostering a collaborative community. And Jennifer, you and I are also both part of the Microsoft Insiders EDU community. You are
Yes.
very well known. So we are delighted to have you on our show today. AI is the big topic. And I believe you gave a talk on this once before, didn't you? AI powering literacy skills.
Yeah. Maybe,
So
maybe a few times.
nice. Well, we are thrilled that you are here to share it with us today. So without further ado, Jennifer Womble, take it away.
Thank you, Tammy, so much. I'm so excited to be here, and I love the work that NCCE is doing to empower educators and administrators all across this country. So I'm really honored to be here. I really want to focus our time today. We've been talking about AI for a few years now, and I think everyone is really aware that we are in a position now in schools to think about how we're incorporating AI into our curriculum and also tying that to the literacy skills of tomorrow's workforce. So we've been getting this premise from our parents, this impetus and concern about making sure our students are ready for the future. And how can we do that by empowering our students with AI? So let's start by imagining what life might be like for two high school graduates in the future. So right now we could have one student who's asked to write an essay for class, and they search Google, they get the resources, they use special tools to cite their resources and use APA formatting and all of the things that we do to complete assignments in a modern day. And that's our real traditional approach, right? Working with their teacher, doing several drafts and revisions. But then we also now have the opportunity to have a second student who may brainstorm the topic with AI, who could then analyze different ideas about the paper before they even start to write it. Then they could create an outline with AI as a partner in the process, write their paper, and then after they've written their paper, use AI to refine their paper. What did they miss? What bias might be in the paper? What ideas did they not cover on the rubric? What are the expectations of the teacher? So, using this AI powered approach by writing a paper, they're still writing a paper. They still have the skill of communication. They still have looked at lots of different resources. Both students can read and write, which we're always super focused on numeracy and literacy, but only one of them is amplifying their skills with AI and really going to be able to use those in the workforce. So, we want to think about ways that we can leverage AI and think about literacy in the future that will have these students empowered beyond our school doors. So they are learners, they've learned how to learn, and they can continuously adapt their learning to new ways. So, this literacy shift that we've been experiencing has been definitely within my professional years in education when we started with the internet, bringing the internet into schools, and we started with ebooks and shifting all of our resources into a more technological approach. So, what we've really seen is that students are actually reading more than they ever have. It might be different. It might be in smaller chunks. It might be different vocabulary. They might use a different fluency and different tones. We, however, have not changed how we assess literacy. So that's one thing that we all need to be thinking about. But we do need to see that there is a lift in an understanding of AI literacy. And what do we really mean by helping students become AI literate? We all are kind of looking at this in a little bit different way. So, what are the components of AI literacy and why does this matter? We want our students to leave our schools being able to solve problems, being able to be effective communicators, being able to interpret data and understand data in new and interesting ways. We also want them to be able to collaborate not just with each other and other humans and students and colleagues, but also with technology. And we'll talk a little bit more about why that's going to be important. But right now, the divide is not just the people who have access and don't have access, it's those who know how to think with AI and leverage it and amplify their human skills, and those who don't quite know yet. So, that AI literacy piece is becoming a core competency of our education system. So, we need students to better have clarity about what AI is and clarity about how to leverage AI literacy in all of their subject areas and then professionally as they grow up in the world. So what do we mean by AI literacy? There's a lot of words being thrown around, and a lot of people are saying AI literacy, AI fluency, AI skills. We've been talking about an AI mindset lately and what that means. So for today's purposes, I want to really focus on the ability to understand, evaluate, and collaborate with artificial intelligence. So, those are very strategic words, and I've been very intentional here about how we are using it in our thinking, our learning, and our decision making. So, especially the evaluating, we want these, we want you to be a healthy skeptic. Well, I hope that you're looking at your outputs. We really need students to know how to evaluate. We'll talk more about deep fakes and why that's really important with hallucinations. But we also need to know how to collaborate with it as a tool, how we can talk to it and get feedback and evaluate our own work with these AI tools. So, when I'm talking about AI literacy today, I'm talking about knowing what AI can and can't do. I'm talking about knowing how to ask effective questions and get what you're looking for to guide AI systems to get the results and the outputs you're looking for. I'm talking about checking outputs for errors, for bias, for misinformation. It's very important that we leverage that. We definitely need students and teachers and parents all to understand the ethical awareness. How are we using AI responsibly? What is the importance of privacy? Student data privacy is probably the buzzword of 2026. But do we understand how to keep our students safe? How to keep our own data safe? And how do we use it responsibly? And then I also want to focus on how do we amplify our human capabilities? We can create and produce the most amazing outputs with AI. So, how do we enhance our creativity, our productivity, and our learning by leveraging AI in new ways that we had not imagined before? This is not replacing human thinking. This is amplifying human thinking. And this is kind of a different way of thinking about things in the modern age. So, I want to think about and really focus our attention today on the five core competencies that allow humans to guide the intelligent systems that we have available. Now, I'll be the first one to say these systems are changing at rapid speed. We have seen the fastest iteration of technology in our lifetimes. So, yes, keeping up can feel overwhelming with the newest version of Claude or Google Gemini or Microsoft Copilot or OpenAI or ChatGPT. We are iterating at a very high rate. So, it's really important that we think about a large language model or an artificial intelligence system as one that we might be using several different tools. There's not just one that will work in every circumstance or give you the best results. So these AI skills can be applied to any different set of tools that you may be using. In your schools, you might be using Brisk or Magic School or School AI. So the tools that you're using at school might be different than the tools you use at home. So we need to help students understand what it looks like to have AI literacy skills that they can use across all arenas: school, work, life. So this is going to be really important. So first, we want to make sure that students really grasp how AI systems work. These are highly complicated computer science skills, and how it's working with pattern recognition and how it is maximizing its capabilities and changing is really important. So we need our faculty and our administrators and our parents to understand what AI is and what it is not. So we need to know that we still refer to it almost as moonlight. It reflects back human knowledge. Now it's amazing at gathering large sums of data, and it can and do some very quick analysis. But we need to understand that there are some limits here too. So, how we give it instructions, or we prompt it, how we ask for information is also going to give context to the results that we get. So, that's going to be really important. So, we need educators to help students understand and have clarity how to craft and ask questions to get the very best results or the most creative using their own curiosity to develop these things. More importantly, something that we need to make sure our students understand is how they will ultimately be supervising AI. They will be directing AI agents. They can be programming these agents to do other tasks. We're now hearing about workforce buddies. Microsoft introduced some yesterday. We know Claude has been introducing some to us. This is a workflow where we're actually training agents to go out and do work for us almost while we sleep. So it is going to become a skill of how to manage and how to plan for, break down skills, and train AI to do these things. So that's going to be a new skill set. So teaching students how to manage AI is very different from teaching them just numeracy and literacy skills. We also have to really focus on helping students understand how do they collaborate with AI, how they collaborate with other people in AI projects, how they work alongside AI to maximize and build their skills, and how they become the most creative, the most imaginative, how to bring their ideas to life. So that's the actual real skill with AI. And then, of course, that ethical use. We really want to make sure that whether they're reading, they're writing, they're doing communication, they're critical thinking, their creativeness, no matter what they're bringing to life with AI, there's got to be that ethical background. And we really want to make sure that they understand the implications of what could happen in a digital world. So, just like we're making sure that information literacy is important, we've got to make sure that those ethical pieces are really building the skills for them to understand bias, to recognize things that could be falsehoods. And so that's where digital literacy is going to also play a part in what we want students to understand about artificial intelligence. So, something that we're really interested in thinking about is as we're using artificial intelligence to amplify us, right? The human intelligence actually matters even more in the age of AI. So, those things that AI can't do, making these human decisions on their own. These are the things that we want to empower our students with. We want our students to remember that the humans are the ones deciding on the work, making the selections, giving the directions, managing the AI, and that their judgment ultimately is at the center of all of the work that they're doing. So that's very empowering to each student. This is creating a student centered curriculum that helps them to understand that what they're curious about, what they're designing and creating, what they're communicating will only be conveyed of the messages that they select. So it's not the direct output of AI that wants to be automatically accepted. We want to make sure that they understand that they're going to need to use their judgment and decide, even though AI might make something faster to be reproduced, is it the most accurate? Does it fit the need? So these are some new judgment skills that we want to really focus on and build on with our students. We also want to point out that relational intelligence is very important, that building trust and empathy between the students and our colleagues that we work with, these are human skills. These are the skills that we still need to help students understand and to build more than ever. It's going to be important that they can adapt to new circumstances and situations, that they can get along with all kinds of people, and that human intelligence is really going to be the compass that guides everything they're doing with AI. So, if we think about AI literacy as a framework, we're preparing students for the workforce and for life in general, but we want to give them these skills so that, remember, they're at the center with their human intelligence, but they're using AI as a leverage, as a point of amplifying their thought, amplifying their curiosity and wonder, helping them to build creative solutions and solve problems. So this is really the focus of our AI literacy is, again, when human intelligence guides AI literacy, we really achieve a more maximized capability. We're getting the most out of our students, and our students are getting the most out of their time. So, whether it's helping them edit and draft papers and give them assistance in editing, whether it's adapting their papers to what audience would this best be for, whether it's, is this the tone I wanted? Does my paper present clarity? Again, that student who is leveraging AI that we use as an example in the beginning can get a lot more information about their essay when they ask AI, what did I leave out? Is there some bias in my paper? It is like having a writing coach with them at all time. So again, using that example from the beginning for reading and writing and learning, AI can really amplify our students' skills and really help their creativity shine. So, how is this collaboration happening? Well, in schools all over this country, schools or in districts are making decisions about what types of AI tools to use after they've worked with their teams to understand what AI is, build a communication with their parents and their community, and then come up with some guidelines for their students and their faculty. But what we really want them to understand in the classroom and when we're building pedagogy to bring AI to life, we want students to understand how to analyze information using these AI tools. That's definitely something the workforce is looking for. We want them to be able to draft communication so that they understand who they're designing different communication for. And then if AI is helping them to write it, they need to be able to determine if there's fallacies in the writing. Make sure that they're checking for understanding and accuracy. That evaluation piece is going to be really important. We want to see them work with AI to generate new ideas. And also, it can create scenarios. So, if I don't understand this math problem, could you create a scenario to help me understand this better? Could you explain this in a different way to me? Could you use my favorite sport, soccer, to come up with an example to help me understand? So, in these different ways, AI is really becoming a thought partner with students, helping to empower them to become better learners, more strategic learners. Maybe it's going to be a little bit quicker in the learning. That might be helpful too, because then we can spend more time doing other interactive things in the class. But the goal here is to help it become not just faster and more accessible, but maybe could you give me that paper I'm writing in a different language so I could share it with a friend? Could you show me in sign language how to communicate this? So think of all of the questions we have about the things students are producing that they could have amplified and get feedback with AI. So, really, a key insight that we want to think about as students are collaborating with AI is that the future workforce is going to be defined by AI. So, being able to leverage these tools will be essential for students in the future. They'll also be able to manage their own AI agents. They're going to be able to design agents. You can do this now with a context doc if you're working in Claude or ChatGPT or one of these platforms. But we know that future professionals are not going to just have to use AI, they're going to have to be able to train and supervise AI agents. So these are some new skills that we need to let students dream. How could they have a team of assistants working for them? Not just collaborating with one tool or AI, artificial intelligence, but having teams that are working with them to empower their ideas and to build businesses, to build ideas, to build projects. So this is a new way of thinking. Now, some of us have been using design thinking in our classrooms to help students understand workflow, but this could be a new way of work for lots of our teachers. So we're asking educators to design and think about teaching something they've never done before. So this can be very exciting, but it can also feel overwhelming. So we need to make sure that our administrators are helping our educators be supported with professional development and training so they can understand the power of AI and these agents and then how we work with them. But most importantly, I want to focus here on validating results. And what's really important right now is we really make sure that we are focusing our educational process on making sure that the humans are the manager of these intelligence systems, but they've got to be able to validate and make sure that the results are accurate, that there's not hallucinations in their products, and that they're checking every piece to ensure that the humans in the loop are the ones making the decisions, using their best judgments about the products that are coming out. I also want to take a second to focus on relational intelligence because, as we have seen with AI, we have been able to interconnect with more people than ever. But building trust with groups and building relationships is going to be more important than ever. The humans that have to work and have these teams of AI agents working for them, the AI agents can analyze information, but they can't build trust. And we don't want them to. We don't want AI to have empathy or for children to think of them as their companion. We don't want to be saying good morning and naming our AI because AI is a tool. The same way we're not saying good morning to our refrigerator or talking to our stove. AI is a tool. And when we don't want to humanize it, we want to keep that relational intelligence with the humans in the loop. We want the humans to build trust and understanding. And so we know that building empathy between one another, leadership skills in the future are going to be determinant on this trust between the humans that are in the loop. And we can do that with communication skills. We can do that by teaching students different skills that will help them to be effective in the workplace. They've got to have those AI skills, but they also need the human skills that go along with them. So that's going to be very valuable in an AI world. So, this future workforce that we keep talking about, which is actually today, because companies today are hiring AI managers and vice presidents of AI and AI data analysts. So, we probably shouldn't have said future on this slide. We should have said the now workforce is going to take that human intelligence plus the AI literacy to really amplify all of our students' capabilities in just about every single career. So, that'll help them solve problems, create clarity, innovate at an even faster pace. Now with AI, they can create their own apps, they can create their own games, their own programs. They can do that with Canva and all kinds of tools that they have at their very fingertips for free. But we need to let them know that they could continuously be able to design and solve problems and adapt in this new world using these tools and their language. The power of their language can actually create apps and can actually create agents that can do things. So, what's this mean for schools? This is what's really important for us at the district and school level. First, we've got to really be asking better questions. We're not implementing AI just for the sake of it. We need to make sure we're integrating AI into courses where it's intentional, where those inquiry skills are important, where critical thinking is important, where we're building curiosity. We need to make sure that we're helping students understand how to analyze information with AI as an added tool and how they need to think critically about the outcomes and the outputs. So, again, using that human judgment. We need to show them how to collaborate with a variety of AI tools so that they're empowered no matter where they end up in the workforce or post education, and make sure that they understand what tools can help amplify their thoughts and ideas to solve problems and also to use technology in an ethical way. So, really, our goal is to make sure that students are AI ready, that they have AI skills, that they are fluent in understanding the capabilities, not to have them avoid or be fearful of it. I'm very optimistic about the outcomes and the power that schools can give students when empowering them with AI. And we've seen that around the world in places like China and Estonia, where every child is using AI and AI tutors to amplify their thinking and working. So we know in from some other examples. And if you'd like to see an example of all the different research around the world, I invite you to check out the Stanford Scale Institute, where we're housing all of the K-12 research on artificial intelligence. But there's definitely skills that AI can't replace. So we got to make sure to teach those relational skills, empathy, communication, creativity, and continue to do that, not just with the AI. So our vision for the future is that students are AI capable, but they also have the great human skills as well. So artificial intelligence will change how we do the work, but the human intelligence will still determine what work matters. What are we going to choose to work on? What problems are we going to try to decide? How are we going to do that? What tools are you going to use? Those human decisions are really important, and those are the ones we have to empower students with the human relational skills. So it's our responsibility in education. Knowledge is power. So we need to empower our students with the knowledge of AI so that when they go out into the world, they'll know when something is a fake because they will have been taught AI literacy. They'll know what tool to use when they are asked to complete a task. They'll know how to lead in a world that's powered by AI because they'll have in their back pocket these AI skills for the future. So, I really want us to be thinking about what skills should we be teaching today that we haven't been teaching, and then how do we really integrate that into our pedagogy so that students are AI ready for the world. When again, our goal is to prepare students to lead in a world where the thought is going to be augmented. I want to invite all of you to participate in National AI Literacy Day on Friday, March 27th. You can learn more about this online, but this is a great way for schools to get started or to actually involve their communities, their teachers, their partners in understanding what AI literacy is in their path to empowering students with AI. We have a wide variety of schools across the country, some of which have been working with AI systems for 2 and 3 years. Some are just getting started. So even though we still have about 30 states with guidance on AI, and we've got the Federal Department of Labor who has laid out the AI literacy framework for us, we need in our individual schools to understand how AI can empower our students. And this is a really great way. There's tons of resources and training materials. So definitely put AI Literacy Day on your calendar. So I want to end with a couple of ideas. One is, what literacy skills should we be teaching today that didn't exist 5 years ago? Hopefully that helps us to think about what AI literacy is and isn't. And then I also want to invite you to have these conversations with your families, with your communities. There's a lot of understanding about AI as it's evolving quickly, and there's some misunderstanding about AI as well. But the deeper and richer that we have these conversations, the more empowered our students are going to be, and the more workforce ready they're going to be. If we have a lot of conversations going on about what jobs might be created, what jobs might be eliminated, that's happened over time. It definitely has been something that we've seen in workforce development over the ages since people have been working. Some jobs have been created and some have gone away as technology has changed. But we want our students to be adaptable and flexible, creative and curious, and have the AI skills so that they can make the decision and use their judgment about what they want to use moving forward and what kind of problems they want to solve. So I invite you in your communities to try to tackle these questions I know teachers all over the country are thinking about this and trying to implement pedagogy in different ways in their classroom, trying to implement AI in some different ways in their classroom. This is a lot to think about in such a short time, but I'm really grateful to Tammy and the whole team at NCCE for having me here today and opening this conversation. So, Tammy, maybe give me some feedback. What kind of literacy should we be teaching today that we weren't thinking about?
Well, it's funny you would say that. I was sitting here trying to reflect on, um, I was thinking of how AI is used to fool us in many social media
Yeah.
instances. And in my
Yes.
fifth grade class, there really wasn't a curriculum for it, but we really took time every day to look at images and how can you tell? How can we research? What can we do to see whether or not this is a true picture, a real fact? And teaching those resource skills. I mean, I loved everything that you were saying. I loved you talking about the role of rational intelligence, empathy, and all of that, because that's what's missing. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of the human-centered AI guidance from the Washington Office of the Superintendent. The AI should always start with human inquiry and always end with human reflection, insight, and empowerment. And that's
Oh,
that's what you're talking about. Now, there was
yes.
a question.
Oh, sorry.
How soon do you think we need to start teaching those? I know what I think, but I want to hear you tell everybody.
3 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I
it's
mean, what
really
age
hard.
do we start? Do we start
Oh,
at the
oh,
little?
oh, their age. Yeah, no, kindergarten. We definitely, and even earlier. I mean, students, the hard part is we talk about this as being an arrival technology that kids are arriving to school already seeing it in Fortnite. And I would just saw some Mattel toys that actually have LLMs built into the toys that are talking back and forth to toddlers. So, I mean, that understanding of what AI is and isn't and the companionship that needs to start before it's put in their hands. So this is why I think empowering families is just as important as our students, right? And so we definitely need to make sure we're having community conversations about this. But on the other side, I would have loved to have had AI when my kids were in high school and I was trying to help them with homework. And it was things that either I hadn't taken or I didn't understand myself. So, I mean, it could really empower parents to be a better support at home for their students as well. But no, I agree. Kindergarten. Now, we don't want kids on these tools under 13. That's the guideline. But
Right.
we definitely need teachers having the conversation about computer science in general because they need to understand what an algorithm is because we know that those are kind of dangerous and addictive and they need to understand what AI is. So there's a lot of pieces of computer science that we need to empower students with understanding, and they can do that without using the tools because they hear mom asking Siri a question, or they hear asking for the music to be turned on, right, for different devices. So they're witnessing, and we're all role modeling as adults, what's happening in the world, and they're seeing it and they're curious, and kids want to know and
Yeah.
they want to understand too.
No, I love that, empowering them when they're young. I remember when the internet was brand new and when we were teaching and everybody was saying, "You why do you need the internet in your classroom? What are you going to use that for?" And everyone was frightened of it. And I love your approach of this is a tool that if used correctly, just like the internet back in the day,
Yeah.
can be empowering, but it really starts with not losing the humanness and the empathy and the questioning and the critical thinking. And so what a wonderful, thank you so
Oh,
much
thank you.
for sharing all of this. Now, did you give this session at the last FETC?
No, I didn't give this one at FETC. We had some conversations about this with superintendents actually at AASA. And so, what different districts, and we empowered some different districts to share what they were doing. And
Mhm.
really, what's really interesting, I'll say, like Desert Sands, Dr. Kelly May Volmar, she started with a design thinking process and they brought their community in. They had conversations about what AI was, and then they built out a plan, an implementation plan, and part of that implementation plan was changing their assessments and changing their products. And they had to think about teaching and learning start to finish. It's not, there's no one easy solution. This is not an add on, this is an integrate into. So, that's a really different approach. So, looking at different districts and how they're trying to implement this has been really insightful because some of the early, the people on the bleeding edge have been trying this with a pattern of play first, then train, then empower, then let their teachers experiment. But all of that has to be done in a safety net, in a walled garden of, AI use with a lot of understanding. And I think the one amazing outcome that I'm really excited about is that we're seeing a greater connection between our IT team, our academic team, our leadership team. They have to genuinely work together to understand all these parts. And, it's been really helpful to bring everybody to the table and have a greater appreciation for each of those pieces and be intentional. What curriculum are we trying to teach? What tools do we have? Do we have the infrastructure to support that? And then how will we assess that the no students are having the outcomes that we really need them to have? So that longitudinal plan has been really strategically strengthened. I think with AI, we're having conversations we've never had before
Yeah.
that seem really obvious, but I think that that's empowering, the entire school community to be involved in the conversation.
And what you're saying is inspiring. I love hearing that people are working together. It's so hard to foster that, and when we're all
Yes,
working toward the betterment of our students and empowering them for their future, we can't go wrong. You've already had FETC this year, yes? When is it
we
next year?
did. It was in January, but we will be back next January, in 27. So hard to imagine, right? 2027.
Oh
And
man.
so, yeah, it'll be the 24th to 29th, the last week of the month of January next year. We will actually be opening the call for papers on March 24th.
Ah,
So we're gearing up. We're going out right now. We're investigating future featured speakers and keynotes and
nice.
building understanding and attending a lot of events this spring. There's so many great state events to go to. NCCE was fantastic. I was following along the whole time. And
Nice.
so, this is where we can continue to build this momentum, but we need to continue to strengthen these professional development events so that
Yep.
teachers can go and learn. They can have time to figure out, to plan, and then to implement them, and then to reflect on how it's working. Because this is something new. Nobody has the perfect answer. We're all in this
Yeah.
together.
Amen. Well, you've heard it, everyone. You go to FETC at the end of January 27 and then NCCE in
Yes,
February or March.
absolutely.
Excuse me, in March. So, Jennifer, thank you so much for being so
Thank
gracious
you.
with your time. And we're very grateful for your coming on the show. We'll be back next month, everybody, in the middle of April. Oh, wow, April. So, thank you again, Jennifer, for joining us, and everyone else. Thanks for spending time with Live from NCCE. See you next month. Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you.